Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. I am so excited. I have my good friend Michelle Cook here, and she is going to share a little bit about who she is and what she does and how she can help you. Because after all, she's an amazing spiritual entrepreneur, and I'm going to let her tell you who she is, and then I'm going to share with you how she helped me. So, Michelle, take it away.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. As always, it's always a fun and joyful space with you. Let's see. Gosh, I don't know where to start. Where do I begin? Um, let's see. About 4 years ago, I really kind of came to I guess it was a moment where I was just kind of had hit my ceiling with what I thought was my ceiling with personal growth, right? I'd read all the books, I'd done all the things,
Yeah.
and so I just happened to be at a coffee shop with a girlfriend of mine, and she looks at me and she's like, do you know what your human design type is? And I'm like thinking, I don't know why I was thinking Meyer-Briggs, right? And I was just
Mhm.
like, oh yeah, I'm a INTFJ or whatever, and she's like, no, no, no. She's like, this is more like aura. And I was like, I'm like, I don't know. And then I was like, maybe I haven't heard of this. And
Mhm.
so that kicked off this spiritual awakening that was life shattering, groundbreaking, bananas, just absolute bananas. And so I dove so far headfirst into human design. I was doing all the things, reading all the things, learning all, remembering all the things.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, like I've always been into the mentor and coaching arena. But this added a layer that
Yes.
was just phenomenal. And so I learned so much about human design, about the experimenting, how it works, that I knew I loved it. I knew I wanted to pass it along. I started doing readings. I started implementing it into my coaching practices, and yeah, and here we are.
So amazing. That's so amazing. And I'm gonna tell y'all how I met Michelle. I was looking for some help with my design, and my design is the 1% reflector. And so I was looking around on the internet, and I was looking around in different groups and, talking to people. And I found a girl that was doing human design, and I did her, I think it was 2 or 3 day challenge. Of course, I did about 2 days of it, and um, she said nothing hardly about reflectors at all. And so I was like, okay, I'm
Oh,
gonna do this. So I just started looking, 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 and finally I think I was in a group and somebody actually mentioned Michelle. They were like, oh, Michelle is my go-to, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, you're a reflector? Oh my God. Because I actually had a session before with a girl, and it wasn't a bad session. It was actually a really good session. And
yeah.
she opened up and illuminated a lot of things, and she gave me a nice written report and stuff, which is good
Oh,
because
I love
I go
that.
back and look at, yeah. So I still go
Yeah,
back and look at the
yeah.
things on it and everything, and I'm still kind of developing and opening up myself. But I was looking for just somebody to shine the light on it for me. And so I saw this in this post in this group, and this girl had put Michelle. Matter of fact, it was about 3 or 4 people that put her. So I said,
Oh,
reach out.
yay.
So I sent her a friend request immediately. And then I reached out and I was like, I seen these sessions. I said, but are those still the same sessions? And you sent me a message and said yes, and she did. And then I had my session with her, which was amazing. And I
Oh,
told her it's like she uncapped some shit inside of me, and after that it's like I was able to receive a lot more of the downloads, and actually, it was almost like she just opened up the gate, and then
no.
other things started showing up for me that I needed,
So
that I
cool.
even know I needed. So y'all,
Right.
I'm telling you, if you are, into your human design and you want to know
Eh.
about, Michelle is the person that I recommend. Matter of fact,
Oh,
I'm actually doing
thanks.
a thing now to see building referral partners. So for
Fun.
referral partners, if you come to me and you say, I'm looking for somebody for human design, I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
go to Michelle.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's just so valuable. So now
I
that
love
I've
that.
shared how she helped me,
Yeah.
now I'm going to let her take it back and tell you how she started really, getting into all of this, spirituality in
Yeah.
general. Because, it's
Yeah.
always a rabbit hole that we go down.
It
You know,
is.
she and
It
I talked
is.
off camera and we were talking about how, we take all these different courses and these different modalities and
Yeah.
how we've spent thousands of dollars, learning
Yes.
stuff and doing courses and teaching things and stuff. And then you get
Yeah.
to a place where it comes time for you to
Yeah.
shut some of that down and listen to your own
Yes.
voice. So, Michelle, let the people
Yes.
know
Yes.
how you came into this world and where you came from.
Yeah. And I think you're so right. Like when you mention the courses, and there's nothing wrong with taking courses. There's
Oh,
nothing wrong with
me.
any of that. But sometimes, and I know I am guilty of this, that I felt very shameful that I was not like accredited, like I didn't have this, or I didn't have that. And
Yes.
even sometimes in the human design community, a lot of shame can be around, oh, you've only been in your experiment for this many years,
Yeah.
or this or that,
Hmm.
and you're not qualified to do this or to do that.
Hmm.
But the thing is, we are all born with the knowing innately, right? We're just here remembering, right? We're just here
Yes.
remembering. And so maybe you remembered faster. Maybe but if you have something that you think could be beneficial to another, why do you have to wait 3 years to share that, or to even sell that? Because let's be honest, the electricity bill isn't paying itself, right? And
Yeah.
so in order for us to maintain, we're on earth, we're flying through a rock, we're on a rock flying through space, and we have bills and mortgages and things we have to pay, and we're in these human bodies, and we're trying to make this all work and
Yes.
hold on to our spirituality. So there has to be this energy exchange, right? And for us, a lot of times it's a monetary exchange. And
Yes.
so for us to be able to sell these products, to sell these things, all I want to say is don't get hung up on feeling like you have to
Yes.
do all of these courses, get all of these things. And now, if you want to, oh my gosh, of course, I love taking courses.
Right. Me
I
too.
love. I'm like, we were just talking. I was like, I love the free courses. I love the high ticket courses. Now, look, I taken some courses that aren't fabulous? Yes, of course. But I mean, I still love them. I think they're a great place too for connection. I mean, like you meet the coolest people. So, when you're taking these courses or going through these
Yes.
things, you're learning, remembering together.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think what really just started it all for me was trauma. And it's like, we go through these traumatic events, and it reminds us so quickly how we're always in a healing process. I shouldn't
Yes.
say we're always in a healing process, but it's ever evolving, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not like, I always thought there was this checkbox that could be like, done. I've healed from abuse. I've healed from all of these things, and I was like, oh, check, done. Oh, no, 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 that is not how it works, because I had this happen to me 20 years ago, in my first marriage, and it was like this cycle of abuse and neglect, and just all of these things. And so I've spent so long like healing, and then this one incident happens in a matter of 1 hour, and it ripped that wound so far open that it all came flooding back
Mm,
so fast
mm,
that
mm.
I was shook. And I'm like, oh, but I healed this. I thought this was done. I thought I had dealt with this. I thought it was over. I thought I
Yes.
had checked that box,
Yes.
and I was wrong. I was so wrong. And from that point, probably early 2020, that's when I dove back in. I just dove so far into all the things. And so when somebody's like, what do you recommend? I'm like, first, I recommend all the things that are free. Meditation, free for the
Yes.
most part. I
Yes.
mean, a journaling, free for the most
Yes.
part. So all of these things, all these things that I really like dug into and tried to do to heal
Yes.
myself. I've done all the things, so many things.
Yes.
Breath work. Oh, love me a good breath work class.
There's a tapping, which I
Music,
love.
tapping.
Love it.
Yes, I love tapping. And so I always tell people, I always recommend do all of the free things,
Hmm.
all the free things, the things that you feel are aligned with you, that you want to try, that seem,
Yes.
that you feel aligned with. Definitely try those, especially try all the ones that are free. And
Yes.
so,
And
I
YouTube.
did that. What's that?
I said in YouTube, I tell people
Oh,
it's a huge
yes.
resource. They're
Oh,
teaching,
huge.
I mean, whole
So many
modalities
things.
on there.
Yes.
And a lot
You
of
are
times
teaching.
you won't be thinking, I am teaching lots of
Yeah.
things on there. It's like, you'd be surprised the things that you find that,
Right.
you don't have to pay for.
Right. It's
It's amazing.
phenomenal.
It is. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And so I did those things. I did so many of those things. And like I said, when I found human design, I was like, this is so right up my alley. This is so it explained. It answered so many questions of like why, I don't know if anybody else is, I'm like, why am I like this, why? The biggest thing I get as a reflector, so if there are any reflectors watching, you've got two reflectors here. And how many have you ever heard, has anyone ever told you like, oh my gosh, I totally thought you were fake, or I thought, I didn't think you were authentic?
Somebody told me, oh, I thought I didn't think that was a real thing. And now I met you, met you.
And you're real.
Look, I think
Yes.
I am.
You're like fairly certain, fairly certain I'm real. And so I used to get that all the time. It brought me so much shame when I was in my younger years, because I was like, oh my gosh, people are going to think like I'm not authentic, like I'm not my true self. Well, what I came to find out was that was just Tuesday Michelle, right? So Friday Michelle could look completely different. And so the reflector aura is that of the chameleon, right? We're not the same person we were on Tuesday on Friday. And so when I found that out,
Absolutely not.
I was like, oh my gosh, the reassurance that something was not innately wrong with me was so lovely. And I was like, I want to give that gift to especially every reflector I meet, right? Because sometimes if you're in the groups, if you're in the reflector groups, I know you are, and you see those newbie reflectors come in and they're like, wah, wah, I'm a reflector. And I'm over here like, no, you are a unicorn. You are a bright, shiny, glittery,
Look,
magical being,
and that's your
right?
superpower.
Yeah, right. Yes. And I'm like, don't be disappointed. No, that's our not self.
But do you think that a part of that is the way that they talk about it? Because I
It
felt that
could
same
be.
thing that you said, because I always knew I was weird, always been weird.
Right.
Always dance
Same.
my own, dance and beat of my own drum. I talk about my daughter
Same.
like that, but she's my child for sure.
Yes.
But I think about that when you said
Yeah.
that, it kind of hit me that some of the first like videos that I saw on it and some of the first people that I saw talking about it,
Yeah.
all they talked about was basically, manifestors and how amazing they are and the generators
Projectors.
and
Yeah.
projectors too, they started coming in there, which I was telling Michelle when we did our session that I thought I was a projector at first. And so I was kind of like,
Oh,
I wasn't really identifying with that either, which I wasn't really
right.
identifying with this either. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I was still trying to figure it out. But then when I found out when I was born, my mother told me I was born after midnight. It changed the whole design.
Yeah.
And I started looking at it. Then I really did identify, especially with like the hermit part, because I'm 2/4. I
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
identified with that because to me, that's almost like a duality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And
got the
profile lines within, so we're with reflector auras, profile is so important for us. And so is our incarnation cross. And so a lot of the other types,
yeah.
they it isn't as crucial. Like their sun and earth, sun and earth signs really kind of shape a lot of what's going on in their aura.
Right, right.
But for us, for reflectors, so much of it is the transits, our incarnation cross, our profile. And when I do readings with reflectors, the profile lines come across so strongly, that I'm like, oh, I know for sure, like I can, I know I'm dealing with a reflector aura type here, but I'm like, oh, 2/4, for sure, or a 3/5, whatever. And I can see a lot of those qualities within, because those profile lines again come out, I think, so strongly. Like I can meet a generator and I'm like, I'm like 2, 4, 6, 3. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? Like, unless I know a lot of their backstory, but with reflectors, I think that
Shit,
profile line is strong.
sometimes they sometimes I just can't do them for long. Like they trigger I mean, they just trigger me, because it's like to me it
Yeah.
feels like that hustle generation.
Uh, oh yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
hustle, hustle, hustle. Oh, why you're not doing this? You need to be doing it. I'm like, what?
Ooh, yeah.
No.
Manny Jens. I have to tell you this so funny story. I just see this reel. I don't remember if it was on TikTok or Facebook. And this guy, and God love him. I bet you anything he's a Jen or a Manny Jen. And he's this motivational speaker. And he's like, you guys, I wake up at 6 a.m. and my first day goes from 6 a.m. to 12. That's day one. Day two is 12 noon to 5 p.m. Day three is 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. And I'm over here like, my first day is from Monday to Wednesday, and then my second day is Wednesday to Friday. That's a whole day for Monday to Wednesday is one day for me, And I'm over here like, wow. Manny Jens have me like this all the time. I'm like, whoa, they're just so it's the plates, the spinning the plates, and they do it so magically that
Yeah, they
I'm just
do.
like,
Yeah.
woo,
To me, they're like I can see the jugglers.
Yeah, the jugglers. Yes, yes.
Putting it up, and they're just
Yeah,
doing it, and they're having fun doing
absolutely.
it. And to me,
Yes.
it's like that would be exhausting.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
I
And then when they
know.
drop a ball, they drop a ball and it's like, it's something that's completely dead to them and they just kick it off the stage and they're like, that's dead to me. We're just like, I'm like,
And you're like this.
that's, yeah, I'm just like, wow, that's phenomenal. And they grab another ball and throw it in the mix. And they've got 10 balls going. The
It's
feeling
insane.
of the aura types has been so intriguing to me. And that's, I think, what I love so much is, now that I understand how the different aura types work, it it definitely gives me so much more empathy, because I remember when, I mean, my kids are much, much older now, but my middle child was, I don't know, 9. And he is your quintessential Manny Jen, doing all the things, juggling all the balls. And he comes to me and he's like, all right, I'm signing up for soccer and football and baseball and basketball. And after the second one, I was like, oh, that's too much. You know what I mean? Like that's too much. And, but it was too much for me. It wasn't too much for him. He can, to do all things. So now at 23 years old, I actually had to phone him and say, hey, remember when you wanted to do all the things? You could have. So I was wrong. You can do all the things. And you should do all the things. As long as they light you up and you're having fun.
I bet he
But yeah,
appreciates that though, right?
oh yeah, he was like, wow. I was like, but it was too much for me. It was that is not my aura type. I am not a ball juggler. I am not a plate spinner. I have impersonated one a couple times
You know,
and almost killed myself.
I was gonna say that's where I should have been, but I wasn't there. At that time I was nowhere near this world. And I was
Right.
in the church world doing that stuff. And we were
Yeah.
ripping and running with that. And every time you turn around, and the one thing about that is if they just perceive that
Yeah.
you have a kind heart,
Yeah.
they will put so much on you.
Right.
If you accept it, you will be
Yes.
over freaking whelmed. They were putting so much.
Yes.
I told one lady, I said, do these people realize I work and I have children
Right.
and I
Yeah.
have a husband? I mean, I can't,
Right.
I'm not, I can't, but I would
Yes.
try.
Yeah. And especially if a multitasker is the one telling you because they
Yeah.
see themselves in you and they're like, well, if
Yes.
I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I'm over here like, that is not how that does. And now that we know, now that you know the aura types and you're like, oh, yes, that is your superpower, not my
Not mine.
superpower. And that is okay. That is totally okay with me.
It's okay. I'm all right
Yes.
with it. You know,
Right.
you go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or we're gonna do, or these people that, like, if you go on a vacation, say like a family vacation or something, and you got a whole bunch of sisters, brothers, all kind of people there or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We did a girls trip just last last month, yeah, last month. And it was a lot of us, but then it was like,
Yeah.
okay, because everybody was like, oh, look, well, let's do this, let's do that. And then some people that I could tell just by listening to the conversation, who was like
Yeah.
basically a Manny Jen, those people that just can push, 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 always push, push, push.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh, well, I said, no, no, see, no,
No.
I'm good. I was like, I can relax. And there's a pool at the hotel.
Yes.
There's a place to
Hammock with my
sit.
name on him.
Right. I was like, there's a pool, there's a hot tub. I can do that. I said, and there's a gym. I can go do that. I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah.
to run, run, run.
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God. So talk to us
Yeah.
about the importance, especially because I know you were like me, you found all this stuff post, children being small. But
Yeah.
if you had found this when your children were small, how do you feel like it would have helped you to help them?
I think about that a lot. And I don't I think about younger me so often. And I don't know if younger me would have been receiving. I don't know if younger
Crazy.
me, what's that?
I said
What?
younger me was crazy.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
know
Younger
she
me was, yeah,
until
younger
you
me was
know
like,
he was stuck.
no.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know if younger me would have received the information the same way,
Right.
and or if I would have. I don't. I was quite critical, but I wasn't maybe, and I was like, oh, that's it doesn't work as a scam. I don't know. I think about that though, and
Mhm.
so if I would have, I don't. Can't even. I can't even imagine. But now that I know, of course, I've got two grandbabies and I've got a manifester grandbaby, and a
Oh
Manny
wow.
Jen grandbaby. I know, right? That was that birth story. Woo-hoo. Save that for another. I'll have to tell you that story sometime. It's crazy. But yeah, it's like, so I think it came to me at the right time.
Mhm.
And I think that younger me would have just been like, not as receiving as older, more patient me is. And actually, I often, you were telling me earlier a lot of how you look at your analytics, and who, your
Yeah, who
kind of
watches us?
people, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
who watches. And I have found recently that I do a lot of readings for 60 plus year olds. And
Okay.
so, yeah, and so I had a reading not too long ago, and it was I want to say it was the age range like mid 70s, right?
Oh wow.
And yeah, and it was such a phenomenal reading. And at first she was a little like, I wish I would have learned this a lot. Why didn't I learn this a long time ago? And it's like, we can sit and try to analyze, but I think when things come to us, they come to us at the right time,
Yes. Yeah.
And she's like, but why so late? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I wish,
Well,
girl,
and
if
you
I
know
had
what you
the
can
answer
say
to some of
too?
those things.
You can say perspective.
Yeah,
That's what
absolutely.
I've been telling people. I'm like, it's perspective.
Yeah, it's
You just got
perspective,
to shift
right?
your perspective. Because
Absolutely.
who is it late for? Is it late for you? Is it late
Right,
for somebody else?
right. Yeah,
Because you know what they say, better late than never, right?
yeah, absolutely. So I'm just like, well, hey, at least at least you have it
Now.
now, right? At least you have it now.
Yeah.
And she is retirement, so a lot of time to reflect and
Yes.
really take the time to heal. And so
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe you just didn't, maybe if you would have had it earlier, maybe you didn't have enough time to do that healing, and
Yeah.
now you have a lot of time to
Yeah.
devote, because healing, and look, and I'm not, the healing sometimes, I've had super fast healing episodes, I've had longer healing episodes. You never know how long it's going to take exactly.
Because you
And
think
it,
it.
and it, you think, yeah, and is it ever really fully completely healed? You always have that scar, there's always that scar. And as much as we think, oh, check that box, I've healed from that, it is sometimes that's, especially that Chiron return. I mean, mine's coming up here in a couple years. So I'm like, I feel like I'm prepping for it now. I feel like a prepper. I'm like, get all the things canned, we gotta have.
Now, what's Chiron return?
So that is the wounded soldier. It is, basically usually happens in age range of like 48 to 55 ish, depending
Oh,
on when,
not bad.
yeah.
No wonder. That's why I asked the question, because I said that sounds like
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. And so a lot of times that wounded soldier, it's a wounding that we have experienced in
mm-hmm,
our past, and it kind of comes back to revisit us. And depending on how much work you did with
mm-hmm.
that, and my Chiron has a lot to do with failure, like personal failure, especially when it's like failure within the family unit, right? And
Yeah.
so my Chiron return has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can feel like it's building, I can feel a little bit of it. But per the Chiron return, when it starts, it comes in. It can come in pretty strong. It
Mm-hmm.
usually lasts for a year. But I think the more that and you can't ever be fully prepared, but at least I'm
Right.
aware. I'm aware. And at least I have in my possession a little toolkit of the healing modalities that I can refer back to. Like, oh, need to
Yes.
up that meditation. Oop, need to up that journaling. Oop, need to do that tapping. Need to do that breath work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's those things that I think we learn. They come to us when they're supposed to come to us.
I agree. That's phenomenal, because I think about that too, because I was actually having a conversation with my husband about that, about how I wish I had found him 30 years ago
Oh,
when I
yeah.
met the other one.
Yeah.
Of course he said, yeah, baby, they got a word for that. And I said, a word for that? He said, yeah, like pedophile. Because he's 9 years older than me.
That's great. My husband tells me that all the time. He's like, I wish I would have met you back in blah, blah, blah. And we don't have a large age gap at all. But I tell him all the time, I'm like, you would not have liked me. I was I was such a polar opposite of who I am now. I'm like, I was like, you would not have liked her.
But you said
I
you
look
wasn't
back and
ready. You wasn't ready.
yeah, you was no, no. I'm like, I think you would have been like, no,
Like, no, I don't think, no. Look, we can't.
no.
It's
It was it was like, oh, that is a shit show right there. And so I'm like, it was I know, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I wish, we would have had more time together as well, but I'm like, I'm fairly certain I wouldn't have been your type.
exactly like when we got together was the time, because we
Yeah,
actually had a conversation about that, because I don't know, like we don't have any kids together, because by
yeah,
the time we met, those days were gone,
yeah,
you know
right,
the parts were gone, the days were gone.
right.
Right, doing
Yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
but I, in my mind, sometimes I'm like, I get this little nagging thing. God, I sure wish I would have been able to, have a baby or two with him.
Oh, yeah.
And God, our kids would have been so
Oh,
evolved and enlightened,
right.
and just it just would have been so much better for them, because some of them are not, and they, yeah. And so, yeah, so we were thinking about that, and then I said, you know what, no. And then he said, yeah, I probably wouldn't have been ready. And I said,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't have been ready. I said, because I'm a whole 180 difference than I
Yes.
was back then,
Right?
right?
Yeah. I know. I think about that
Love
all the
growth,
time.
right?
And I'm like, he would not have been. I'm like, I guarantee you, I would not have been I would have not been your cup of tea. Not at all.
And you know what's wild is that we know this.
Yes.
Even though
Yes. Sure, for
you
certain.
can't help, right? Look back and say,
Yeah.
God, that would have just eliminated our whole, I wouldn't have had to have the starter husband.
Right.
Just gonna go right into the professional one. It's like when guys get drafted out of high school.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
who was Kobe? He drafted
Yeah.
out of high school and go straight to the NBA. So I'm like,
Yep.
I would have just already had my NBA experience, and not,
Right.
this one down here in college or whatever.
I know, I know. It's so interesting. Like when you look back at the progression and just all of the things though, all of the events and experiences that have led us to where we are right now. And that's a huge thing I do with my coaching too, is like I want for every woman, I want for every person, of course, but most, so my heart with women is, I'm like, I want for every woman to be so in love with her life,
Yes.
and to be in love with your life right now. You have to accept, and the past for what it was,
Yes.
and and just absolutely fall in love with the life that you have right now, and be that, just live in that gratitude and live, and of course, are you going to be sad? Of course. Are there going to be moments of grieving? Are there going to be there's still going to be traumatic moments that happen in your life. There's still going to be healing and wounding and conditioning and all the things. And someone asked me the other day, they're like, are you just happy all the time? And I'm like, no, I just like had a breakdown earlier today, but I enjoy being happy, and I enjoy I enjoy
I
should have called
mean,
me 3 hours ago. No.
right? Like, no,
No.
but yeah, but can we make a choice?
Yes.
That's to me,
Absolutely.
that's it. It's like
Yes.
make a choice to be happy.
Yeah.
No, I
I
mean,
know.
am I always happy? Pretty much, but it's because I make a choice.
Oh, yes.
You
And I
know,
love it.
because
Like,
you
I
can
love
choose
people
not
like, you can't live in that bubble. I'm like, the hell I can.
exactly try to stop me.
Right.
What
Don't tell me
no,
what to
what do
do.
they say? What do they
Feeling
say?
very manifestory.
I was gonna say, what do they say in our generation? Fuck around and find out.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, so I'm like, I choose happiness so often because I enjoy it. I enjoy it. But when those times come, I have a lot of melancholy gates in my chart. And before I knew what they were, I would feel again shame, because I'm like, am I depressed? Am I sad? Like, and then so now the melancholy gate, when the energy comes around, I feel it in the transits. I'm like, it's coming on. I can feel it, and I just throw on my Sunday sad bitch playlist and listen to my sad bitch music, and I have my session, and and I just let it go through, and I let the energy, and I'm like, it's okay. It's okay to be a sad bitch sometimes. And that's all right. And it's like allowing it instead of feeling shame or guilt. And I think too, for sure, for reflectors, that we always need to question, if the energy is it ours, right? Does it belong to us? Because a lot of times we feel the energy of the other or of the collective.
I feel
And
things from other people,
yes,
especially
yes,
like my husband. I'll be
yeah,
like, is your
yeah.
hip hurting? Because my hip is fucking killing me. And
Yes.
I don't generally have hip pains like that.
Right.
I need you to
Yeah.
take this shit back.
Yeah. Right.
No.
Yes. It is interesting. That is so interesting. I get a lot of the emotional, like I can feel my husband's like anxiety and his guilt a lot of times. And I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't
Yes.
want to bring it to his attention all the time, but sometimes I'm like, hey, are you feeling, or how are you right now? So it gives us that opportunity, like,
Yeah.
to check in with ourselves and say, hey, does this belong to me? Because a lot of times I think, especially other aura types that don't know reflectors very well, they're like, oh, you need to, feel the energy, accept it, and
No,
feel
the
into it,
fuck I
release it.
don't. I
And
already feel
I'm
too
like,
much.
no. Yeah, I'm like, if it's, I am not taking it if it's not mine, right? I'm like,
Oh,
no, I'm like, absolutely not.
uh-uh.
And I'm like, if that does not belong to me, no, thank you. And so with reflectors, we're the samplers, right? And so
Yeah.
we can sample. We sample the energy. It's like I always call it like a human aura buffet. And I'm like, sample, sample. Oh, no, thank you. And it's like we come across those things that may not be for us, and that's okay. So yeah,
That's amazing, is what it is. To me, it's
it's
another
crazy.
thing that gives us a license, a permission,
Yeah,
because it seems that that is what people want.
yeah,
What they say? Ding, I give you permission. Ding, I give you
yeah.
permission.
Right? Right? I can't believe. So I had a business coach, oh my gosh, I want to say 15 years ago. And this is way back when I was still in like corporate world, and I was running a cleaning company, and I had all of these employees, and I am never have me hire anyone for anyone's company. I am the worst hirer because I see the immediate potential in everyone. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to be great. They're going to be great.
But
And
you,
they are in about
but
10 years.
that's what I was gonna say. But you missed
Yeah.
that middle part.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes. So never have me hire anyone because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to be amazing. So I hired everyone. It didn't matter. Yes, hired. Yes, you're hired. And so I ended up with oh my gosh, it was a disaster. And my business coach looks at me, he's like, you do realize that you own the company and you can like fire whoever you want. And I was like, oh yeah, forgot about that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
why, how, right? And so, it's like in that has stuck with me even now with, relationships. You don't have family, poof, like you choose your family. Of course there's some that's born into and I'm like I choose no, like that is not who I want to consistently keep in my circle.
yes,
And that's okay. And I said, so that goes that permission thing, like having someone just remind you and give you permission to do the things that obviously it makes sense, right? It makes sense when you think about it, but when you're in the middle of it, you feel so committed, like, oh, I hired this person, I need to give them a chance. And I'm like, no, they're driving me bananas, they have to go. And so yeah, it's definitely permission is huge. It's
that
and I
is.
think so much, especially our generation. I don't yeah, those
It's,
Gen Xers.
and it's crazy because you look at it, it's like, because I tell people, I'm like, so now I'm 55. So I know that I'm the master of my own destiny. But it
Yes.
has taken me to get to probably right around 50 when I started
Yeah.
giving myself permission to be
Right.
who I already knew I was.
Right.
And to be even the people that saw that in me. I
Yes.
mean, it took me all that time to get to that place where I said,
Yeah.
I can be her.
Yeah.
I am my most authentic self always.
Yes. Yes. And I
You
still
know,
I still feel so much like human design was like that was a part of the permission process for me was human design. It was like this is this is innately in your aura type. This is, you don't have to be ashamed of having a very chameleon type of personality. And hey, don't get me wrong, it was great for sales, phenomenal for sales.
yes,
But in personal situations, I had friends that were like, well, you're different around that person and you're different around this person. And I'm like, I'm over here having no idea that I'm reflecting, different personalities. And then when I found out, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much more sense. And it just allows you to release that shame and that guilt. And then not only release the shame and the guilt, but be like, oh my gosh, I accept this superpower that comes with my aura type, right? And you're like, ah, what a gift.
yes, yes. And I'm telling y'all that this young lady right here helped me to actually see it as a gift.
Oh,
Because at first, like I
yeah.
said, it felt like an albatross. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, they're always talking about these manifestors and the generators,
Ah,
engines, and even the projectors and stuff. But no,
I know.
and we're like these magical unicorn creatures out here in the middle of the sky some damn where. And I'm like, it's something
Yeah.
to give. I was like, I don't know, and I didn't feel that way because, it's almost like when people meet you, especially if they haven't met any reflectors, they're in awe. It's this
Yeah.
look like, oh,
Yeah.
like you just hear the choir,
Uh-huh. And I'm like, oh no, oh
oh,
no.
no,
Don't
I'm a
put me
real
on that
person.
pedestal.
Look, I
I'm gonna
promise
fall
you.
so hard. Yeah.
Right? I'm like, I promise you, I'm a real person and I will come through if
Uh-huh.
you need it.
Yeah. And guaranteed I will probably disappoint you also.
For sure. It's like, no, I'm not. No. Look,
Uh-huh.
not Jesus. I'm sorry. No.
I felt like when I was younger, I was the biggest like narcissist magnet ever. It was like every narcissist was like, oh, her. And I'm like, oh no, no, no. Like being my
Because
mom.
don't
I'm
you
like, no,
think,
no.
because don't you think we can help people too?
Yes, absolutely. But I think too that the narcissist, though, they love, a true narcissist loves look, themselves, and it's like they
Yes.
see
And we
themselves in
reflect them.
us. Oh yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. We are this big bright shiny mirror for the narcissist, and they're like, oh, I need you in my life.
Please come. Until you
Right.
realize, no, you're dangerous
Yeah.
for me. I cannot do you.
Yes. Right.
And the
Yes.
thing you said about, creating your family was amazing because,
Yeah.
people think that they have to be obligated to those people that they share a bloodline with, when
No.
sometimes you share a spiritual bloodline with people.
Yes.
I've
Absolutely.
been finding that a lot lately. It's like
Yeah.
the people that, I keep small circles because I just don't do people like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, have experiences, no. Small circle,
Yeah.
no. And so I noticed that the people that are in my small circle, most of them are not my blood people. You know what I mean?
Right.
The people
Yeah.
that rock with me, the people that fuck with me, the people that,
Yeah.
that care about me, a lot of times they're not the people that are, related to be my by blood. A lot of them are
Right.
people that I met, like I met a few Facebook friends that are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know. It's crazy.
Look,
And I'm like,
because I'm talking to you.
yeah. It's crazy because like we meet these people, and I look, say what you want about social media, and people are all like, oh, social media is this and this,
I
and
love
and
it.
I'm like, oh, I love it too. I'm like, if you truly, it's a tool like anything else. A hammer's
Yes.
a hammer, right? If you
Yes.
whack someone in the head with it, of course it's gonna do some damage. But I'm like, if you use social media to connect and to have these intimate and intriguing relationships, then
Yes.
you can make it whatever you want to make it. And I think
Yes.
it's so, what an opportunity, right? I mean, oh my gosh, I've connected with people in Australia, New
Yes.
Zealand,
Me too.
Africa. I'm like, this is
It's
crazy
amazing.
bananas. Yeah.
And you
Like,
can
when
talk
would
to
we have
people all over
ever
the
had that?
world.
Yes.
Exactly. It's like,
Right.
oh my God.
Right.
And we can do it for
Right.
free.
For free.
Like what?
I know. Yes.
It's
And it's
almost
like,
like when you
how fun.
when people talk about it, because I hear especially, our Gen X and our boomer friends.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
everything. But the funny thing is, who really doesn't like it? A lot of the millennials.
I know.
I
I don't
didn't
think they know how
realize.
to use it right.
I don't know, but some of them is crazy anyway. But
I'm like, you're doing it wrong.
exactly. So, do you know how much I have learned
Yes.
on social media, especially freaking TikTok?
Uh,
You know,
some of the closest friends in my life I've never met in person. And I would consider them like family,
me
right?
too, me
And
too.
I've never touched them physically, but
Right.
I'm like, I am so connected with these people. And
Yeah,
it's just, that's mind blowing to me, mind blowing,
it
because
is.
we came from the generation where like we had pagers. You know what I mean? Like, I,
And
it
long
was,
distance, you had to pay for it.
uh, oh, it's so much money. Like it was uber expensive.
I
And
told
now we have
you.
like connections within moments, seconds with
Yeah.
people across the world.
World. It's not even
Bananas.
the country, it's the world.
Yes.
And it's phenomenal to me. And when I
Yeah.
think about it, it's like, wow, because I always ask people when I'm on like lives and stuff, where you tuning in from? And people are tuning
Yeah.
in from all over the world. And it's just, I just
Yeah.
love it. It just like, I don't know, it just makes my heart happy,
Right?
to be able
It's
to
so cool.
and especially when you say, oh, well, girl, where you at right now? Oh, I'm in
Yeah.
South Africa. I'd be like, oh, damn.
Ah,
You know, what time is it over there?
right?
What's the weather like? Honestly. And I'm on
Yes.
now, like I said, as I'm
Yeah.
traveling, the places that I go, if I know people, if I met people like on social media, I'm like if I
Yes.
was in your town, I'd be like, girl,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be over there, in a couple
Let's
of months or
connect.
whatever. Let's connect. Let's go for
Yes.
some lunch or something. I said, because I
Yes.
want to see you face to face. And I've been doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this our last call, but I want to do this like reflector tour where I just travel around the world and like meet reflectors.
Okay, I'm down with that. Look, I'm right here.
That'd
Let
be
me know
so
when you're
cool.
coming. I'll
Oh my
make a
God, that'd be so
way.
cool.
I do because the thing is, we I don't know, it's almost like we geek out with each other, because
Yes.
we know how rare it is and we know how people
Yes.
treat us. Because I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but sometimes I feel like when I meet the other ones, especially like some of the ones that are teachers in human design, but of course, they only focus on manifestors and generators, and they might throw a little
Yeah,
projector out there.
a little bit.
A little bit. But reflectors, all they say is, oh, they're of the 1%.
Well,
They're
yeah.
those magical creatures. They're just like a unicorn.
You're like, give me more meat. I want your experience. I want to hear your story. I want to hear, I need something to connect to. And that's another huge reason that I got into human design reading, especially for reflectors, because it's like I'm able to share those stories, share those moments. And for me, I it helps me to learn or to remember so much when someone tells me their story and I'm like, oh, I can totally relate to that. Like I experienced that feeling, but just in this, this other this another way. And so I think that's huge. And the advice, I'm not saying it's bad advice, but it's just like this blanket advice that they give to reflectors. They're like, follow your transits, be in the right space. And you're like, fucking what?
Look,
Like,
what are
I need
transits?
more.
What are transits?
I'm like, give me more. I need something more than that, right? And it's like, and too, it's so funny because with reflectors, like the space, like our environment, really doesn't come into play until
It
our
does.
40s, 50s, 60s, and so in the younger, you've got these 20-year-old reflectors that are like, oh my god, I gotta live by a shore. And I'm like, calm down, it's okay, like you will find your right spot. A lot of us end up at our right spot just organically, which is also so crazy. And so and you can
Rainbow
create it
connection.
artificially, right? Yeah. And it's like, not, you can't always help where you're born, where you live, your living circumstances, but you can sure as hell create an artificial environment, wherever. And so, if you're a cave person, my husband's a cave person. And so his office literally, blinds are shut, doors are closed. He works in the corner. So he's created, we didn't have to go move to a mountain. And that's not, sometimes people take human design so literally. And I'm
Literally,
like,
yeah.
that's they were just using this as an example, like cave, and I'm like, but you can create a cave within your own. You don't have to move houses. But I do have some clients that, like, I have one client, this was the craziest shit. I'm on the call with, am I allowed to cuss on your
Yeah.
podcast? Oh,
You're
okay. So I was like, oh, sorry, just delete that.
you
So I'm on this call with her and I was like, oh wow, your environment is mountains. And she literally clicked, I heard her to take a photo. She's like, I'm sending you a photo. And I get the photo and it's these ginormous mountains in her backyard, and she lives in Vegas. And she's like, we bought a house in this development and I couldn't see the mountains. She goes, I made my husband sell it after we had just bought it so I could get this other house in the same development that faced the mountains. I'm like, that's so cool.
can't make that up.
She didn't even know what her environment was, but she's like, I knew I needed to see the mountains. I
She
was like,
felt it. She felt
damn, that's nuts. Yeah. And so I think again, it just kind of organically happens, I think, as we age, that we gravitate towards
it.
where we feel best, right? But like I said, people get too hung up on having to live, do I have to move to an actual cave? No, you do not. You can recreate this within your own home space that you already have.
And that's those gates that I was talking,
Yes, absolutely.
because people will tell people that stupid stuff. They'll
Right.
tell people that, and they'll be, going into debt in order to, you know, move
Yes.
over here because they're supposed to be in this environment and this and that. And I'm like,
Right.
and I almost want to say, like, you can't do that right now.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe start saving up and taking your time, find you some land, whatever, but
Yeah.
you just don't have the ability to do it in that way at this time.
Yes. So how can we modify your current environment
Yes.
to make it more beneficial for you in the time being, right? And that's a lot of times what I coach with my clients is like, how can we take what you have
Yes.
and make it more beneficial for you?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I love that too, because I think so we get so many times in human design, it's taken so literally, like the whole reflectors shouldn't sleep with other aura types. And I'm like, I know. Your face. That was my
I
face.
mean, my husband is a manifester,
Right.
but I'm gonna be right there.
Right. Same. My husband's a generator.
Oh
And
shit.
so, yeah, right. And so I'm like, all right, I'm like, I'm going to do the experiment. I'm going to experiment with it. I'm totally in for experiment. I will absolutely experiment on myself. And so I did the experiment. I'm like, all right, we're going to spend time. We're going to sleep. He was not happy. We're going to sleep in separate spaces. And so I journaled, how do I feel this day? How do I feel this morning? How do I feel? For me, zero difference. Now there are people that do. I have a manifestor friend that definitely feels so much more refreshed sleeping alone. And so again, you get that little bit of permission where it's like, okay, this is your permission. If you need to do that, then you should, because that is for you.
Yes.
But if you have, you've experimented with it and you found no difference, I prefer how our sleeping arrangements that we have, that we sleep together in the same room. And again, we don't have the luxury financially of these multiple bedrooms that we can just be
Right.
like, okay, you take
Right.
you take this
We said
wing of the
you go sleep
house.
in the closet.
Right.
You got a
Right.
walk-in closet, throw a mattress down there and sleep.
That's your bedroom. And so, that's another thing that I coach in human design is like, you have to experiment on yourself. That's what this whole thing is. It's just a big, giant experiment. And to give you the permission to feel into the things that feel best for you. Right. And so if you find sleeping alone, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better, then that's what you should do. That it gives you the permission to sleep alone if that's best for you, to follow the transits if that's what's best for you. If you need, how much time you need to take for a big decision, experiment with it, figure out what's best for you. And that was huge for me, just the experimentation within human design,
Yeah.
and all of these things to experiment with. I'm like, ooh, that's, I mean, for
Yes.
reflectors, that's just fun. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yes.
Like a playground, I think.
Yes. So they take time though, and so I'm like, someone said, oh, it's going to take 7 years to blah blah blah, and this whole 7-year deconditioning thing, which I ruffle so many feathers with this whole this opinion, this argument, if you will.
After
But
that
they,
stuff, it already like irritates my nerves and like
yeah,
triggers
you're
me
like,
when I hear
what?
it. It's like, what?
What?
Why are you putting that? To me, that's
Right.
like when the doctors come and say, "Oh, you have cancer," and
Mm-hmm.
they'll say stupid shit like this. Well, how long do I have to live? Like
Right. Yeah, like he
you
knows.
got 7 days.
Right. Yeah.
And,
70. We'll see about that.
right. And the funny thing is, people that accept that actually might die in the 7 days.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know what I
And
mean?
so I didn't accept that at all. And so and to me, and so then when I started diving into it, I'm like, okay, so this whole conditioning thing, we're conditioned, then we decondition. We condition, then we're deconditioned. But if you
Mhm.
think about it, we're constantly being conditioned because we're constantly experiencing new things. We're constantly experiencing new conditioning. And so are we ever fully like
Right.
deconditioned? Again, there's this end point, this marathon that we think that we're going to finish the race on, but that isn't how it works. That's not the thing, right? It's this. So I was like, this whole 7-year deconditioning thing. So I was just like that. This for me, I'm like, no, no, no.
Because the other thing too is what I've gotten downloads about is that all of time is a man-made constraint,
Oh
and
God,
all of
yes,
it actually is a period of time where or we are in this period, and it's because we're in the age of Aquarius that time is speeding up.
yeah,
People have noticed that.
yeah,
Yeah, it is, and
yeah,
it's part of it is about dispensation, and also about karma and the karmic
yeah.
patterns that we all have. And I could go real deep, but I'm gonna stop.
I know. I know. Time is so fun. Isn't it fun experimenting with time though? Oh my gosh. What an interesting. And so that's another reason, like sometimes when I'm in that Manny Gen, the aura of a Manny Gen, I experience that time bending. I'm like,
Yeah, it
man, that is so bizarre. It's so cool. But yeah, I mean, time is just, what a fun experiment.
really is. Oh my God. And I'm telling you,
Ah,
this world is just so fascinating. I
it
mean,
is.
the more that we dive deeper into it and the more that
Yes.
I believe that the more that we open up to it, because
Yes.
that's what I'm feeling so much now. It's like we are all just expanding and opening up, and things are
Yeah.
becoming, so beautiful and so real,
Yeah.
and bringing
So
in
crazy.
that joy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And giving those reflectors that opportunity to reflect that joy, that happiness, that surprise is so, and that's such a passion of mine. And like, I want every reflector to be able to experience that, to mirror that, to reflect that. And it just became such a mission for me. And I every reflector call, I'm like, I get off the call and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have energy for days, you know. Like after this call with you, I am so hyped right now. My husband's like, "Would you like drink like 4 cups of coffee?" I'm like, "No, just talking to Tammy."
I'm telling you, I already was like, well, yeah,
Huh?
get this done, get that done, and oh my gosh.
Right.
But you're right. It's like,
Oh,
you just get so filled up.
yes,
Because
it's so
especially
cool.
because it's almost like you're talking to somebody that understands you.
Yes,
And
that
it's
too. Yeah.
crazy because when you talk to another reflector and you're like,
Oh,
especially one that, is in our world, healing and
yeah.
helping people
Yes.
stuff. It's like, oh my God, somebody understands. Because when you talk
Right.
to other ones, they look at you like you have two fucking heads.
Yeah.
And I could
Yeah. Yeah.
hear them in their brain going, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's happened to me a number of times.
She really is.
I'm like, look, at least I'm entertaining to people, right? At least we're entertaining. I'm
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna have fun.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, but did you have a good time?
Really.
Yeah.
That happened. Oh, I'm so sorry. But did you have fun?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Oh,
that's great.
we're going to land this plane. I have to ask
Yes.
a question that I ask each and
Oh,
every guest. Um,
yes.
if there was one thing in the world that you could change, what would that be?
Ooh, one thing in the world that I could change. Oh gosh, that's a great question. I was not prepared. One thing in the world that I could change. Man, gosh, I think the only thing that I would change is just me, right? I would just kind of like change like the giving myself permission to change, to experience and to evolve and to grow and to change and develop and experience all of the things that the earth is such a cool place, right?
That's
The
amazing.
earth is so cool. I love it. And so I'm like, I don't know. And I know I feel now I kind of feel horrible. I'm like, oh, world hunger, but like, sorry.
Hey, no, no, no,
But
don't
I'm like,
do that.
but I'm like, but
None of that.
if I'm a better me,
Yes.
you'll get a better version of me, and I'm a better me for you. For what is my one of my coaches, Melanie Ann Lair, she says, for me, for you, for us, and I just love that. So I'm like, for if I'm a better me for you, I'm a better me for us. So yeah, I think just the change would be the change in myself. That that's my is that my be the change you
You want to
want to
see?
see in the world? Yeah,
I love it. And I was saying that I asked that question and I have gotten different answers every single time.
I love that.
That's why ask it because I learned so much, from
Yeah,
every,
it's such an intriguing question.
yeah, because one lady told me nothing.
Yeah,
And I thought that was quite interesting. And then another young
yeah.
lady said that she wanted them to teach consciousness in school.
Ooh,
And that was amazing. Of course, she has a child in school. So yeah.
yeah.
But that would be amazing. She was like, consciousness in school. And then
Yeah,
other people said all kinds of things. And it's been just interesting answers to the
yeah.
So I ask
Yeah.
that with everybody because I want to,
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to see, what is it that you think, you know,
Yeah.
could be
I
changed?
know. It
Yeah.
is interesting. And I think everyone is on their own journey. And I was, for the very first part of my adult kind of life, I was in this fix it mode, right? I needed to fix this person, fix this, which is why I kind of got into coaching and mentoring. And I'm like, we need to fix you. And now I'm just like, you know what? Nobody needs fixed because nobody's really broken. We're just all changing and evolving at our own pace. We just need the permission to do so. We need somebody to be able to hold space for us while we do so. We need empathy. We need support. We need love, and we need the space to be able to do that. And I think especially for women, it's like this being able to express, our all facets and aspects of ourselves, from the feminine side to the masculine side, to the boss, the bitch, the badass, the babe, all the things that we embody are so crazy phenomenal. And having the space to do so, I think. But now that you brought that up, I dream of this sometimes. I dream that there's this world, and I imagine it's, maybe a couple decades off, where like babies are born in the hospital and they come with like a little human design manual, like, like here's the aura type for this child. Here's what you might expect. So I think like those kind of, I think that would be super cool at some point, like here's
Book.
your, what's that?
Maybe a book.
Yeah, like a little, like,
Maybe
what was,
maybe you'll write a book.
maybe. What's that book? When we were young and our kids, what's that, the book with the mom, with the mother? What was that? How to
Dr.
parent, how to
Spock?
motherhood. What was it called?
Was it Dr. Spock?
Oh, it might have been.
Yeah.
And so I think about that, like, when you're a first time mom.
Kids.
Yeah. And then it's like, you have a manifestor baby. Here's the booklet on that aura type.
I'm telling you, a book.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Right.
as soon as you said that, I saw a book.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, because I already saw like a book of reflective stories.
Yes.
I'm actually thinking about, putting that out there in the groups and
Oh,
if anybody would be interested in,
how cool
sharing.
would that be?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because,
We need more reflector stories because they're
well,
crazy.
right? So I was like, oh, I could do this. I could do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Right.
this reflector for the baby manual, you could write that.
Yeah. I'm like, that would be so cool, right?
I'm so
Hey,
serious, girl. I mean, I'm like, I'm
here's,
that thing right here. It's like, because if you think about it, you can do so
yeah,
much better with your kids. And just like we were talking, a lot of
right.
younger
Yeah.
people are more woke than we were as
Yes.
babies,
Sure.
you know.
Absolutely.
So they would welcome that. Okay, this is how, especially now, people are telling people that you were abused because you had a whipping. And I'm thinking to myself, no, no,
Yeah.
I wasn't abused.
No. Yeah.
But you know
I
what I'm
know
saying?
when we tell our childhood stories, they're like, whoa. I'm like, I
Yeah.
was great.
Somebody asked somebody I know, so how long were you abused? And they were like, I wasn't abused. That just was how it was in those days.
I'm totally good.
You were seen and not heard. Like, what did they say? Opinions.
Right.
And they nobody
The
cared about your
perspective.
feelings.
No, no, no.
I can remember my mother's telling me that you couldn't eat them feelings.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You can't eat them. You can't take them to Walmart or the grocery store or A&P or wherever you go. You can't
You
take
sure
them to
can't.
places. They're not going to redeem them. So what good are they?
If only. Oh God.
Now you
Wow, she
work.
had some great advice for our reflect. That's, I mean, honestly, like, I mean, for the reflectors with the wide open solar plexus, here we are thinking we have to feel all these feels, and yeah, you don't. We really don't. And I feel like we get to kind of pick and choose, when, if, and how we do want to experience them.
Now, isn't that a
And
gift?
yes, I think it's huge.
Yes, because it's like, just like you
You're
said,
like, how do you do that?
it's like, come on now. It's like, okay, because we just absorb and absorb and absorb.
We can,
And
yeah.
I just was like, no, I can't do this because I can't live like that.
Yes, no,
Because you
no.
think about it, it's like you're carrying around all these people.
Yes, I have this little meme that's like SpongeBob when he's all filled up with liquid, he's like about to explode. And I'm like, this is a lot of times how reflectors will walk around because we think we have to hold all this energy because it like belongs to us. And we're like, "Rah, rah, rah," and I'm like, let it go. That does not belong to you. Yeah. You don't have to, actually us holding on to the energy and the feelings of others does more damage inside our body and ricochets around like a little ping pong ball. Remember that Atari game? Bing, bing, bing.
I
And
do.
so it's like, yeah, remember? And so people watching this are going to be like, would you say your demographic was 20-year-olds?
Yeah, like young ones. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know.
Look up Atari, children. No, I'm kidding.
Right, right, right. Do you remember Atari? No.
Yeah.
But it's like, when you start to really understand, you know what I mean? And you start to really, get on this, I call it a plane,
Yeah.
or shift that timeline into
Yeah.
like, everything is, an experiment. This is also
Yeah.
fun. I'm having a
Yes.
good time. My energy
Yeah.
shifted, and I'm also helping people too. I mean, you can't beat.
Right. Like your baby's born, they get the Welcome to Earth guidebook. Welcome to Earth. You have the aura type of a mani-gen, or congratulations, you have the aura type of a projector. This is, it's like this. The people are so,
You can make them for each one, or
yeah,
whole book with all the types.
yeah, with different like little size. Because yeah, what if you have three babies? You can because I birthed two gens and one mani gen, and even the two generators that I have are so different because one's a quad split and the other one's a single. And so it's like the
You,
quad split.
you could actually go into all of that, girl. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
got some gold
Oh,
here. Thank you. Look,
right.
appreciate that. That was free. No,
Free.
but you got
I'm
gold,
not a gatekeeper.
right? Because seriously, you think about that, it helps so many people because I think I had a manifester and a Manny Gen.
Wow.
I don't I don't even know.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
one that's I think the one that's the Manny Gen, to me, she acts like a damn projector. I thought she was a projector.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, yeah, I would have never guessed.
Huh.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Interesting.
like,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm married to a manifester, so
Yeah.
I'm
Dang.
like, okay, all right. But then you know what it does?
Yeah.
It shows you, um, because you listen to people talk, and then it shows you
Yes.
who you are.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
people say, oh, well, why don't you just do this and do that and do this and do that and do this and do that and then do this and then do some more and then do, and you're like,
Yeah.
hmm,
Yeah.
let me put this right now.
All right.
And then we're gonna move, get,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So yeah. All right. So tell the people
Cool.
where they can connect with you. And then if you have
Oh, yeah.
offers or anything that you're sharing or anything you're doing, you want to invite people in, let them
For sure.
know. And then
Yeah. So I on social, I mainly live on Facebook. I make guest appearances on TikTok once a month. I'm good for about like 4 videos and then I completely ghost TikTok. So if you get on there and you're like, where's she been? Don't worry, I'll be back in about a month. When my energy spikes again, I get some get some manifestor energy.
yes.
But mainly on Facebook, and you can find me at Michelle Angel Cook. Let's see. I have one offer going at the moment, and it's my $33 catalyst calls, and I love them. I love doing them. I love connecting with people. I absolutely love it. And I'm working on some other things right now, maybe a couple like free masterminds and groups that I'm thinking about doing, but we're gonna wait that cycle out and see how it plays out. But yeah, you can absolutely always find me on Facebook, Michelle Angel Cook, and yeah, $33 catalyst call. That's
It's amazing and it's worth every
just
penny.
yeah, and I love it. It's fun.
I would have paid more. I was excited to find it. I was like, oh my
I would
God.
have paid you. I would have paid you.
Right. And it's
You
just an amazing call. Amazing.
Yeah, I love the energy exchanges, and I love the connections, and I've never ever had a call that I'm like, that, never left a call disappointed. Every single call I'm fired up. I love, the person that I think when you do things in alignment and you act as the magnet and you bring them to you, you always end up with, those exchanges that are in alignment and that are for you, right? I think sometimes I know when I was pushing too hard, when I was pushing and I was like, I need to, I get a book 5 calls a day and I'm going to do this. And it was just, I was out of alignment. I was out of alignment and I was getting on to calls that, what's that?
I said burned out.
Yes, for sure burned out. Yes, absolutely burned out. I was connecting with not my people. And so I just kind of gave it a rest and let it happen more organically. And you'll see if you go to my Facebook page, you'll notice the pin that I have to the top. It's old. How old is it, Tammy? Do you know? It's old.
No,
It's
I
like
know
6 months.
it was so old that I messaged
You
you
had a message.
whether or not it was still the same because because what I thought was I said, oh, this is introductory.
Yeah.
You know, I said, "Oh, this is introductory." I said, well, I'll do that anyway. I said, but I just want to make sure that this is the right price and stuff because and then
I
after
know.
what the call, oh my God, y'all. I mean, you get so much value. You get so much value. Like I
I
really,
was like, I
oh,
like it. And then when you said that, I was like, that is really an old pin. I should probably, but like I said, one day for me is Monday through Wednesday. So I'm just on a different timeline.
and it's okay.
That's
It's okay.
okay.
And and that's the one thing that, helped me with our call was that it's almost like you gave me the permission, which I keep saying. So I'm gonna do a master class, a workshop about permission.
Oh, I love that. Make sure you invite me. I love that.
I just wrote it down and I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, we keep talking about this permission,
Yes. It's so
and
good.
it's just amazing because if you
It
think about it,
is.
it's like, you know, if that's all you need is permission to be great,
Yes. Right?
yeah,
Yes. I got you. Like, a lot of times people are like, well, I don't need a cheerleader. And I'm like, what? And they don't know what they need, right? They
right.
don't know. It was just like me when I had all these, turdball employees, and my business coach was like, you can fire them. I was like, oh, I knew that. I
Look,
knew that the whole time,
can I?
but it was just, a little that exactly, just a little permission that was like the reminder of the person, hey, you can let some of them go. If they don't align with you, they don't align with the business, then you can let them go. And I was like,
Right. And
oh,
your soul,
yes, yes,
they got to go.
yeah, yes. I love that. Masterclass on permission. Yes.
Yes. I mean, once you do that, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, and
Yeah.
because you don't realize it's just like you said, like I noticed that when I work with people, a lot of times the first step is always connecting them to their body,
Yes.
showing them how they can connect to
Yeah.
the body and they can start to feel because most of
Yeah.
the time people are just so shut down. You
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the same thing. It's like they don't
Yeah.
understand that, they don't really need permission, but if you need permission, here, you got it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's amazing. So
I love that. Yeah.
we're gonna land this plane. I
All
am
right.
appreciative of you, Michelle, that you came. It's just been such an amazing time as
Yay.
usual. Anytime your energy is fire. And for those of you that are
Fun.
wondering, I was talking about her catalyst call that I did with her. It was so fun,
Oh,
amazing. I mean, I wanted to tip her afterwards because it was just so good. And it
I
really
love it.
unlocked some things, within me.
That's so cool. I love that.
I was looking for. I didn't know, and didn't know
Yeah.
breathing. I
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just knew that I needed to get
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And it's sometimes I'm on calls. I told my business coach one time, I said, I think I said something stupid during a coaching call. And she goes, I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure that person needed to hear that. And I was like, well, I felt dumb saying it, and she's like, let it go. Like, it's okay if it didn't come out in the perfect manner. She goes, that person, got what they needed. And,
Yes.
and, and so again, that just perfectionism part in me where I'm like, I want to say the right things. I want to be the right, and it's like, let it go, let it go. If
Well,
it's
it's a
not,
woman thing too.
it is. Yeah, for sure. Yes,
Because we've
absolutely.
been conditioned to not,
Yes,
and to make sure that we are not, we're people pleasers. And
yes,
so we're not, offending anybody and all this other kind of stuff. And
right.
then you get to a place, and
Yeah,
know that, for me, like I got to this place where I just don't even care.
no,
If I
absolutely not.
offend you, guess what? It is social media. Keep
Yeah,
scrolling.
you're like, you're welcome.
Place else. You can go. You don't have to stay here.
Right,
So I've
absolutely.
just gotten that place, but it's been such an amazing, growth point that I could see.
Yes,
Just it's so fire, when you get around people, like
yeah,
us. It's just
yeah,
amazing. And that's why, and that's one of the reasons why I do this show, because I just
yeah.
love this type of energy exchange,
Me
and I
too.
laugh about it because somebody said, well, maybe you should change your niche. I said, no,
Why?
I'm not.
No,
I said, I like my,
no.
I said, it took
Yeah,
me years to get here.
yeah. This is years in the making.
Right? I was like, no, this was years in the making. It's good. I was like, now it's good.
Yeah,
I said, so no, I'm not doing that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, triggers are such an opportunity for us. And I tell people all the time, it's like if something's triggering for you, it is an opportunity. Do you have to take the opportunity? Absolutely not. Sometimes if we're in a healing phase, if we're in, we're very deeply wounded and maybe we're not in the position, that we can take that moment and do that healing at that time with that trigger. I'm like, come back to it, write it in your journal. This triggered the shit out of me. Come back, put up a little earmark, come back to it when you're in a good space to
Right. Yes.
heal that trigger.
Yes.
And I think another one is like the whole someone mentioned to me the other day, like, well, they were being attacked, and they were being literally verbally attacked, and they're like, well, I feel guilty because this is a trigger. And I'm like, you're not, this isn't a trigger. Like, you are being harassed,
Right.
right? So I'm like, we need to make the distinction because I think a big thing with coaches is, oh, well, this is triggering you, and I'm all for radical responsibility. But I'm also for boundaries and not allowing people to, do us harm and harass us and, attack us. And
Hey,
so all of those things have to come together, and yes, as women, I think that's so, so important for
it
us.
is. It's like, we, especially, and I'm gonna say it, Gen X women,
Yeah.
this is how they conditioned us.
Yes.
Boomers
Yeah.
used to, but
Yeah.
we were particular because, I don't know
Yeah.
if you've seen those memes, but we were the latchkey generation,
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is eight. It's like go in the house, lock the door,
Yeah.
don't answer
Right.
the phone, don't answer the door,
Yeah.
be quiet, don't let nobody know you in.
Right. And I had to watch my younger siblings. So it was like, all right, get in the house, make sure they're safe, feed them a snack, make sure they're okay until we get home from work. And yeah, absolutely. And do
Absolutely.
everything that you're supposed to do it perfect, don't make a mistake, and be prim and proper and be quiet and don't be overly loud because you're a female child.
Mhm.
And you need to fit into this mold of, you need to be quiet and reserved and prim and proper, and don't be selfish,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
Don't be
that part.
selfish.
Don't be
Yeah.
selfish. Always
Don't be
give,
selfish.
give
Give until you're
until
a
it
big
hurts.
puddle. Until it hurts. Until you're a bloody puddle of pulp.
Mhm.
And now now I tell all my clients, I'm be like, be selfish. Be so selfish. Do all the selfish, not to the detriment of someone else, of course. You know what I mean? But like, set your boundaries, self-care, do all the things,
Mm.
do you and be selfish, and be unapologetic about it.
Yes. And the most amazing thing is that we have to tell people that.
Yeah, right? Put that in your permission thing.
It's like,
Yeah. I
but
get
it's,
permission to be selfish.
yes.
Yeah.
You,
Oh gosh, for our generation, that's huge.
Mhm.
To be selfish, absolutely.
Because
Because how many times were you told?
I was gonna say I was like you. I was like 9, and I started watching, my brothers and sisters,
Yeah,
and always, and just like you said, all the things.
yeah,
So dishes, still had to make sure the house was clean. So like
yeah.
parents got home from work, that house better be clean, and
Oh yeah,
you're little, so you had to do is you put them up to whatever they did, but you did most of it,
yeah,
and you
absolutely.
complain about it, you didn't bitch and moan about it.
No, that's
Yeah.
just how it was.
Mhm. I was, these kids today, they're like, but they made me do this and they didn't even pay me and they didn't make me chores and blah, blah, blah. Yes. I'm like, I work for my dad in his office, and he told me that the money was going so that I had a house, a roof over my head and things.
Right.
So I ain't
Yeah.
get no check. If I did, he got it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You were just
Not-
contributing to the household.
These kids today are like, what?
Yeah.
Did dishes and mowed the lawn and I was supposed to get $25 for the week and they didn't even give it to
Right.
me.
I hate to say that I have a favorite generation, but man, Gen X's, we had the opportunity to see the craziest. I mean, we went from no internet, no cell phones to this. Like we had the opportunity to run the gamut of technology and
Yeah.
see this explosion. I mean, it's just bananas. Like, these kids that were born into this, they have no idea what remember like the rotary phone. I mean, just like,
Well, they
the
don't have an
dial up sound when you had to like turn it on the internet.
They don't have appreciation. They don't because this was normal for them.
Right. And I'm
Yes,
like,
it's a step up because like I don't know about you, but I took typing in high school on a
oh, me
typewriter
too. Right.
and
Yes.
they took out
With the
the,
little
the
thing,
tape.
with the little thing over your hand so you couldn't see what you were
Oh,
typing. So
no,
you had
no, girl, no. For us, it was that old one. It was probably a 1950s one.
yeah.
And they had the tape and they took the correction tape.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that's what I learned on. So,
Don't make a mistake.
right? You can make
I
no
just
mistakes. They blur it
I
out.
know. Right.
You're like,
There's it's crazy. I'm just like so grateful to have
it's
seen
true.
just the things that we've seen is so cool, I think.
It-
Ah,
it's like, oh my God, we went from, you had to write checks. Now,
yeah.
those checks.
I haven't wrote a check in so long.
Like well, we used, okay. So when we moved here,
Yeah.
um, you used to have to either write a check or give them a money order.
Wow.
Paid online when we first moved here. And I told
Wow.
him, I said, oh my God, we moved into the dark ages. I haven't done that in decades. I mean, like I literally
Decades.
I had old checks with like an old address,
Yeah.
even my old last name. I had went out and I just used those because I mean I don't we didn't know what
Wow.
else to do. My husband didn't have checks. I didn't have checks. We
Right?
checks
Yeah.
as a check.
Yeah.
You needed to get one for like, direct deposit or something. I would just go to the bank
Yeah.
and get the check. They
Yeah.
fill out the
Yeah.
check in,
Print you out. Yeah.
have one in the folder. I just make a copy of it and give it to the people, whatever, because who has a check?
Right.
You know what I
Now
mean?
when I run into someone and I, maybe say they covered or for coffee or something, I'm like, oh, I'll Venmo you. And they're like, I don't have Venmo. And I'm like, Cash App? And they're like, mm-mm. And I'm like, Apple Pay? And they're like, mm-mm. And I'm like, PayPal? Well, would you have any? And
What?
it
When?
was, and they don't have any of those. And I'm like, I guess I'll mail you five. I don't know.
I know. But y'all know what's funny is older people have some of those things.
Yes,
I
I
got
know.
older friends that, they're like, oh, can you cash out me? I was like, you got cash out? Okay. You got Venmo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it.
Apple
And
Pay?
so sometimes
Okay.
I swear there was like this pocket in the generation, and I think it's like 3 years younger than me, and it was like this 1 to 2 year period, and they just fell in this crack, and they're like we don't like technology is just no, and then I don't know what happened to it. So I'm always when I run into those people, I'm like, how old are you? Because I find it so intriguing that
Me
I'm older, and I'm like, no form of no pay, no electronic payment thing, no, none. All right,
too.
and
How do you pay your bills?
right, yeah, I'm just like this is so
Most are like,
it is interesting. And then I run into a 7-year-old who's like, I'll Venmo you, and I'm like, love it.
me
That's
too.
fantastic.
They they be on it. And I
Yes.
think about that because like my parents are in their 70s.
Yeah.
They both still work.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
know.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, Yeah, they both
Yeah.
still work. My mama, I keep telling her, she just took a full-time job this year.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Wow.
was like, and
Generator. No kidding.
I actually think I think she's a manifestor or either manifesting generator.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Manny
Because
Jenny.
I looked
Yeah.
up her, yeah, I did her chart.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
I'm like, what is wrong with you people? I am so
Yeah.
and people keep saying stupid stuff to me, girl. Like,
Yeah.
you can't be, how do you can't retire for 6 more years? I said, speak for yourself. Shit. I'm
I
retired.
know. Right? I think I took already 2 years of retirement at some point.
Like, I told somebody, I said, I'll be 56 my birthday. I was like, and I started working at 14. I think I should be
Yes.
able to retire.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was
No
the thing too
doubts.
for us too. We all started working really early too.
Oh my gosh, I was 13. Yeah.
I was gonna say I was listening to a friend of mine. Matter of fact, one of my Facebook friends that I met in person here. Um,
Yeah.
last week we went to lunch. Yeah, I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. So we went to lunch. She's from Detroit and she wrote these coffee fairy tales
Oh.
book about, I think I have the front of it. Let me show it in case anybody wants to see it.
Oh, cute.
So it's coffee is a person.
Oh,
The different flavors and stuff like hazelnut and all of that. So the different flavors are
fun.
people and the condiments are people. It's just the most beautiful stories.
Oh,
I
that
love
is
it.
right up my alley.
Right? So anyways,
Yes.
she wrote that and so she told me she was coming here and we met for lunch. And
Oh,
a couple of her friends came as well and we just had such a beautiful time.
I love that.
Is amazing, and I was like, wow, and we've known each other now a couple of years, but
Yeah.
and she let me know a couple months ago she was coming to town and when she was coming and I said,
Oh,
and I told her, I said, I got to tell you how much I love you because I drove 2 hours to see you.
yeah. I know. I always tell people, I'm like,
This
if I have
traffic,
cooked food for you, you know I love you.
right? I was if I travel, because I told her, I
You
said,
know I love you.
I was like, normally when I drive like this, my husband is with me and he drives.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think about that
Oh,
stuff and it's like, if we can just, just like you said, just be the change.
yeah.
If you
Yeah.
want to change, just start being it.
Yes.
Don't give up and be consistent with it, and it's
Yeah.
to the consistency that you can. Now, I say that
Yeah.
because, like I said, I
With
was
it.
going to
Yeah.
consistently work out. Well, my consistently is not every day,
Right.
probably every other, or if I do like I do a little workout that's like turn on some music and dance type of workout.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that
That's my kind of workout.
I could do that every day.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Grab weights and go to the gym and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'll do that a few times a week probably.
Right.
But
I
that's
don't find,
for me.
I'm like, that's the same thing. I'm like, my consistency is fueled by fun. And
Yes.
I find that I'm much more consistent with something that I find great joy and happiness and excitement and surprise in. And I love dancing. And so, yes, for me to do a 5 minute dance workout, I'll even do it in the bathroom. I'm like, ooh, absolutely
But if
done. I
you
can stay consistent. Yeah.
start getting it, I know,
Right. Yeah.
because I said the same thing. I was like, fun is what I'm looking for because I was like
Yeah.
down in myself because I wouldn't be consistent with working out, even though I found all
Yeah.
wonderful workouts on YouTube, 20-minute workouts,
Yeah.
stretching and all of that. I found
Yeah.
all this stuff and I was like, what is wrong with me? And then I started
Yeah.
thinking, I need fun. So
Yes.
I went skating.
Ooh, I
I went to the
love that.
skating rink. Yes. I was like, Usher ain't the only one. I was like,
Right?
I watched Usher and that Bishop skate.
Yes.
They're not the only ones. I said, I can skate too. So I went out there on adult night and I skated.
That
I was
is
like,
so fun.
yeah, I told my
Right?
I'm gonna try to do this every week
Oh, I love that.
because they have
I wish I
adults.
had a skating place near me.
Oh, girl. I
I
went
know.
down.
What's that?
Go to the next town. They closed ours.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do have to. Mine's like a 30-minute drive, but
Yeah,
eh,
that's fine.
I
That's
can
fine.
I can do it.
I just, it was just one of those things where I was like looking for fun things to do to
Yeah.
exercise. And I was like, I need to find something fun because you know how we are.
Yeah.
And so I
Yes.
let me find something. And so one night I pulled it up online and I said, it's Monday. It's adult skate. I'm gonna go. So I
Oh,
did.
I love it.
It was so much fun. I went by myself,
Ah,
went out there and got on my skates and I just skated and had a good time. And I was like, okay,
ah.
start doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah, it was so cool. And then I met this beautiful lady sitting. She did the same
Oh,
thing. She said, I was looking for something fun to do to work out, to get some exercise.
yeah.
Like she said, and I started doing this like 6 weeks ago. She said, and I just loved it.
Oh, wow. That might be the inspiration that I need.
I'm telling you, when you start finding something fun, because
Yes.
Kate, I love to swim. Now I don't have a pool, but
Yeah.
go to the gym at the base because my husband
Yeah.
is in the military
Oh, yeah.
for free. So
Nice.
I try to do that, but that's a drive and stuff too. So I'm like, if
Yeah.
I'm there, a couple of days a week and swim, works out.
Yeah.
'Cause I figure you can work out anywhere because I got weights here. I got
Yeah.
channel and stuff, with the little videos. And
Yeah.
so I was like, you can work out anywhere, but swimming, I was like, if I can do that, get to do that 2 days a week,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Because it
I do
feels
love swimming.
your body and it's
Oh,
full exercise. You ain't got to do 18,000.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're not sweating.
That too. Love it. So I was like, that is, how I'm going to do it. Because, you have to find a plan.
Yes, the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Yes.
love that.
Love it. I love it. Okay, we got to go. I
All
love
right. All right.
it. This was so amazing. Those of you,
Yes.
I know y'all had fun because we had a blast. I know we just,
Sometimes I forget there's viewers. I'm like, oh yeah,
right, right, right. I was like, I know we
I
had
got
fun.
lost.
Right? It's amazing. That's what happens. But if you're a reflector, especially, you definitely want to check out Miss Michelle because her readings are so fire and they're so cheap.
Right?
You know what?
So
It's
true.
fun. You know what I mean? And it was so
Yeah.
good, just in case, because I know a lot of people wonder, they're like, $33, what could be in that? Oh, it's
Oh,
so chock
that too.
full and packed.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because I
I
think a
just,
lot of times people hear the price and they're like, oh, but is it? And I'm like, I just, and so I have to tell people so often, like, I'm like, the price is that way because I just love that. I love 33. I love the number. I just love it. And it's fun for me. And, you know,
and that's the
if
point.
it seems, yeah,
See, so that's the
about me. No kidding.
That's the point. It's like if it whatever works for you, because I actually had to do
Yeah.
the same type of thing,
Yeah.
defend prices with other people, and they're like, "Well, why
Yeah.
yeah." I was like, "Listen,
Yeah.
I like this. I'm good with this. I feel good with this.
Yes.
You don't feel
Yeah.
good with it, you do what you do."
Right.
I was like,
Absolutely.
that's not my issue with that.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
super excited. This is
Yay.
so phenomenal. We will probably
Fun.
get together and do something else again because I'm
Yes.
some collaborations,
Yes.
some workshops. I don't know. I'm feeling some
For
things.
sure.
Keep a lookout, keep an eye out. And I just appreciate you for watching and just for sharing
Yes.
in this amazing interview. So
Yay.
that
Thank you.
thank you. If you're listening on any of the Spotify channels, any of the podcasting channels, because this show will be on all of them. So if you're listening to this, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are in such gratitude because you are here listening to this amazing foolishness that we did today.
Woo. All the things. All the
Right?
things.
All the things. So thank you for joining me, Michelle. And
Yes.
thank you, all of you for joining us on Straight Out of Savannah. I look forward
Yay.
on the next show. Have a wonderful rest of your day whenever you're catching this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And remember, stay in gratitude. Bye now.
Thank you.